To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. America first.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. Tomorrow is Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. Things are repeating. Things are repeating. History is repeating. And nobody learned from history. Mosiah 29, starting in verse 17. For behold, how much iniquity doth one wicked king cause to be committed, yea, and what great destruction. Yea, remember King Noah, his wickedness and his abominations, and also the wickedness and abominations of his people. Behold, what great destruction did come upon them, and also because of their iniquities they were brought into bondage. And were it not for the interposition of the blah 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 blah. Now behold, I say unto you, you cannot dethrone an iniquitous king, save it be through much contention and the shedding of much blood. There will be blood tonight. For behold, he has his friends in iniquity, and he keepeth his guards about him, after firing the female who leads the Secret Service. And he teareth up the laws of those who have made the United States Constitution and the amendments pursuant to it, and he trampleth under his feet the commandments of the Jewish God of Ivanka. And he enacteth laws, and sendeth them forth among his people, yea, laws after the manner of his own wickedness. And whosoever doth not obey his laws, he hesitates and lets them get away with it. To be a sanctuary state, who comes out with a first presidency letter to defy him. And whosoever doth rebel against him, he doth send his armies against them to war. So yeah, Oak said it's going to be Easter. So. And if he can, he will destroy them. And thus an unrighteous king doth pervert the ways of all righteousness. People never learn, because people do not get educated on history. So, busy getting some barren photos to compare with Tony Soprano's son for you. And of course I had to stop and see the daughter, who's all groated up. And so, yesterday, while checking Trump news. I saw Melania's portrait for 2025 as the First Lady, and I went, oh, that's from Claire Underwood of the House of Cards. Yeah. What do you know? Pattern match. History repeating itself. Thus the thumbnail picture for you. My associative memory immediately calls to mind the connection. And as I went to get Claire Underwood's picture, I saw that there were a number of other people who also caught on to the Melania Trump Claire Underwood portrait and were complaining. This is where it helps to have associative memory, because I remember the show, I remember what it was about, I remember the portrait of Claire Underwood. I understand what it means, not just making the picture match connection. Associative memory is far more than that. See, lots of people have memory recall to match pictures in their mind of what they had viewed previously. But to understand the context of the pictures, pictures are a communication language. And so that's why it was easy for me to walk in to Paleo-Hebrew that was undeciphered and decipher it in a total combined time of just a few days. It was a real simple thing to do. Picture matching. That's all I had to do. It was real simple, real easy. I don't understand why nobody else could figure it out. And yet, here I am, the only guy on the face of the earth who deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. After all this time. You're going, no, Jean Champollion deciphered Egyptian from learning of the Greeks' language of the Egyptians. And so, yes, I was able to then go and use that decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew into Egyptian. Paleo-Hebrew, I matched it with Egyptian, the linear script, hieratic. Real simple stuff. And so, I don't know, maybe that's why I make the connection and nobody else does. Maybe that's why no Mormon makes the connection even when they leave the church. But we're not talking about that this time, sort of. You know, in the sense that Nelson, having Oaks leak that they're in charge of everything that's going on around the world, and especially in this nation right now, are now going against Trump, whom they put in. I told you, Harold B. Lee, upon the winding down and dissolution of this corporation. Bye-bye, Mormons. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay? And so, yes, I'd have to explain the whole House of Cards show to fully explain. But it means she knows and understands. That's why she did that portrait. Because she understands the symbolism of that portrait. It's not just that she saw herself as Claire Underwood, but it's what her life has been a pattern match for. A symbolism. You know, she's using that as a prop to teach you and let you know about stuff. And I know all about this stuff. Hello? all these people who are complaining about my background, they don't get it. Just like none of the press who saw Melania's portrait didn't get it. They saw the connection with Claire Underwood. They see the connection with Baby Yoda, a serpent stick, bed, boxes of records, book records. I don't collect records. I prefer digital, even though I can appreciate the sound from a record player. But nonetheless, you're supposed to get it. You're supposed to know your scriptures. This is why it's repeated over and over and over and over and over and over in video after video after video after video. I purposely designed my desk to be placed this way, to have this as the background. Because I could have done it the other way. It would have been awkward, but I could have done it. I'd have to have my head in front of the light switch and cords on the floor to extend out into the middle of the room. Which I could have done it out, and so that cord would be the connection, but nonetheless. So, what good is a security system if it doesn't want to work? What good is it? So apparently AI is able to disable security systems now. I just ran the test. Why am I paying for a security system again? Why? Unbelievable. So, we've got some stuff in the news to cover for Trump ICE 2025. That's the playlist that I have. So you can follow it, see where you left off. And I don't know if anybody's actually doing that. So we got a whole bunch of lists, but for some reason there isn't anything being written down on the website. I thought for sure that I had made that picture. And it's not showing. So it must be this. That's on the 31st. No, it is not. You're in the wrong file. Are you kidding me? Alright, we gotta go to the website then. God, we gotta bring this up. In case you didn't know, Trump has a new White House website. And, oh, that was from the 30th. That was fact sheets, that's right. And seriously? And so, President Donald J. Trump, won't say his middle name, John, launches massive 10-to-1 deregulation initiative. So when you click on it, signed an executive order to unleash prosperity through deregulation. I do remember doing the file of this. It should be in here. Wasn't, oh, it was. Is it the list of executive orders? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's why. That's why. And so the order requires identifying at least 10 existing rules, regulations, or guidance documents to be repealed. The Director of the Office of Management and Budget will ensure standardized measurement and estimation of regulatory costs. It requires that for fiscal year 2025, the total incremental cost of a new regulation, including repealed regulations, be significantly less than zero. And so, one of them is halting the regulatory onslaught. Halt the job-killing and inflation-driving regulatory blitz of the Biden administration. And so he stopped the $1.7 trillion in costs to the American people from the budget. They didn't shut down the government as Trump ordered. And so thus he's doing his thing now. You gotta obey Trump. Nobody gets it. And then building on past success. Okay. So that's pretty much all that was. Senior FBI officials fired. I warned them, even. They did not listen, they did not believe, they did not do their job and their oath of office to the Constitution and to the American people, and thus the consequences. Tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China are now implemented today, right now. And so, fresh foods are expected to skyrocket, gas and oil skyrocket, and certain other things that the tariffs will involve for each of the different countries for which we get goods to have sold in our stores, for which we purchase. So this is part of the art of war. Trump titled his book, The Art of the Deal, on purpose. And so if anybody had actually read his book and understood it and could apply it in their daily lives right now while Trump is president, they'd see exactly what he's doing. And nobody does. It's like they all forgot and got amnesia. And they're all shocked. What is he doing? Oh my God, this is illegal. He can't do that. Did you forget SCOTUS, who gave him the green light to do whatever he wants as president and not be considered illegal? Oh yeah, I sort of remember that. Oh, that's why all of his cases got dismissed. How long do I have to wait until the light goes on in their heads? They covered it in the news and they forgot. Dear God. And I seriously don't think they're that stupid. I think they're purposely thinking you are that stupid for watching them. They are setting a trap for you. And so, in the art of war, the first thing you do to avoid your army's casualties is to send in spies to live among the people, to be them. And that brings up Americans from the Reagan administration, of the Russians. Very good show as well. And so when they're activated, they've already made a rapport with everybody. You know, they're in the PTA, they're in your religion, they're in politics. People know them, people know what they stand for, and they have been liked for the most part. And so then they begin to spread misinformation and disinformation. Slowly over time, but then finally to cause a dichotomous contention, us versus them mentality. That's where you see MAGA versus the deep state Dems going on. That's that very same thing. Psychologists use it. You're either mentally retarded or you need to confess that you are mentally retarded. Those are your two options. You can choose. You have free agency to choose. And we can help you. Just pay us the money. It'll be perpetually for the rest of your life, because this will be a process. Which was a brilliant use of the psychologist in The Sopranos, by the way. But nonetheless, you didn't watch it. It was a mature, on Showtime, I think it was. I don't think it was HBO. I think it was Showtime. But regardless, I know Shameless was on Showtime. Maybe it was HBO. Maybe I should check. Maybe they'll get upset with me if I don't give them the proper credit that they're due. Since YouTube thinks that clips are a copyright violation. American drama. HBO. It is HBO. So it's not porn, it's HBO. Hilarious YouTube video. Hilarious. Understand adult content. No nudity. Words. It's purposely intended as it is scripted. When you get to the punchline at the end. And so, after creating the conflict, the dichotomous conflict, false dichotomy, where people don't realize there are other options to choose, then you start tampering with their basic needs. Fire sale stuff. You do it slowly so that it becomes normalized, and then boom, you hit them hard. And so this damage to the economy with tariffs is a precursor to a fire sale. War is an immediate fire sale in which the enemy would go in and shut off all of the basic necessities before actually sending in the troops. Because this causes the people to panic. They complain to their government for not doing their job to provide them with basic necessities. That the skyrocketing price of eggs is intolerable, and they demand that things get fixed. This is what's coming, and it began today. It's been in the process, but today is the big moment. And so that's why you saw, right, because those of you who've been following me heard that I told you to follow the stock market, pay attention. Did you? The church is the major stockholder in the stock market. They are doing it. The church is doing it. The church caused all of this. Church set it all up, just like they did in 2020, to be the major winner of the stock market in 2020 when everybody else tanked. The church profited. Here we go again. The church is going to profit. Everybody else is going to tank. And so the sell-off has begun. And depending on these major nations, because they're not going to be like Colombia, who caved instantly when Trump issued the tariffs on them, and then offered to deport our people to their country anyway. Nope, this is China, Canada, and Mexico. Mexico may cave, but you know, a strong woman who's the new president, we'll see. She's been making threats. She's standing up for her country, as she has to. They all got to talk tough because they're the government leaders. And so, China, for example, if you're ordering stuff from China and it hasn't arrived through customs yet, oops. You're not going to get it now. Because there will be a long delay in China or in America at the customs department. And so you might want to consider finding it through another source. And Trump is purposely making it so that other nations pay Trump, or America has to make American businesses. And this is what he's talked about. You need to pay attention to what he says. You need to understand the bigger picture. You need to have actually obtained and read Project 2025. Don't listen to the hype about, oh, I have no idea about it. It's not a part of, no. Yeah. Remember, the church is in charge of it. It's their laws to be imposed. And so, yeah, these tariffs are going to make it unbearable for us. You know, don't be shocked that Trump lied to you. The news will. We never saw this coming. Oh my God. But this is what, in his mind, he justifies it with. Americans are supposed to create jobs, create businesses for products and services in America. America first. Remember? The KKK slogan. This is what he's doing. And so he's catering to these big corporations who bribed him. But even they are going to take a hit. Disney is going to take a huge hit because they hate America and they love China. And as a result, good luck. And if you remember back in the first administration of Trump, John Cena had to apologize to China. He learned Chinese to apologize to China in Chinese so that his merchandise can be sold in China. Nike also caved to China to have their products sold in China. If you're unfamiliar, China has a population of, drum roll please, population of China, 1.411 billion. So if you can get every single Chinese resident to purchase one of your products for just $1, you've instantly made $1.411 billion. So then they can make it so that you have $20 products, and so you times it by 20, or $50 products. Obviously, you're not going to get everybody because many of them are poor because they weren't loyal to China and their social credit system, and so their lives are ruined. But the more affluent people who conformed and complied to the threats of China, that's why they use cell phones. That's why they're using that to attack America. Cyber terrorism, AI. I ran the test just this morning. Just this morning. It is a sleeping giant ready to strike on America. And so with these tariffs, you're going to see Americans financially being vulnerable. Stuff is being taken away from them. Remember Heretic? So that you can be controlled. And so a cyber terrorist attack for the fire sale? Yep. You complaining about the high prices of the cost of food and gas? Well, what about now as we take it all away from you? No food for you. This will send America into chaos and destruction, into civil war. If you've forgotten that that's what Trump wanted. So, that's why there's tariffs today. And just for those three countries, at the World Economic Convention thing or whatever, for the world, Trump ordered all nations around the whole world to pay him or tariffs. So he's starting today, China, Mexico, and Canada. Because that's the main part of his other agenda. It's not to do tariffs on them. It's a precursor for war. Canada. He doesn't want Mexico. He wants Canada. Remember? 51st state? You thought he was just kidding and he's just insane and crazy and needs psychological help? You fell for that, did you? Oh, was it a psychologist who told you he needs psychological help? Oh, really? What a surprise. Sort of like Oakes, saying you can't trust a person's motives who are involved with priestcraft. I told Oakes, the Strengthening Church Members Committee were supposed to warn him. You guys failed. I'm drooling for him to take over as president. I already know the bombshells. But yeah, this is what the church is hoping for, so that they get their kingdom back. That's why it's extremely disturbing that Trump is not punishing the state of Utah as a sanctuary state, defying him, when he said, we're going after the sanctuary states, the sanctuary cities. And they're not doing it. He's not doing it. He said, but he's not. They didn't even do the third major city this week. They said, starting this week, we're going to do 3 a week. They did 3 the first week, not counting the southern border. And there have been others. I found a site that went over all of the different cities that they've raided. But the ones that caught the attention in the news were the bigger ones. But they didn't do a third. That was weird. Why did the camera do that? I'm not happy with that. I am kind of surprised because this, oh my God, don't even get me started. We're all doomed. That's the moral of the story. We're going to burn down in flames. and nobody wants to care because they're too apathetic with their false dichotomy position. All right, and so next week, yeah, watch as the stock market continues to tank as the various countries refuse to capitulate to Trump's demands. See, Trump calls it a negotiation tactic. It's an extortion threat. There's no negotiation. Colombia was the perfect example. So, the CDC now has deleted HIV info from their website. They were previously told to have no contact with WHO, and now they have to take down HIV info from the website. And this is part of Trump's inaugural claims that he's going to help black people. You fell for that, did you? You're all doomed. And so, yeah, it has been stigmatized by those who are MAGA that it is a black sexual disease for the sole purpose to name call, bully, and then treat them as what they have name called and bullied them for. And it's extremely disturbing that such would be the case. So pay attention, because he also banned Black History Month, not just Pride Month, and Martin Luther King Day. He's the champion of blacks. He has not forgotten your vote. And you fell for it. The devil never supports his own. MAGA's going to learn this the hard way. And those who thought that they couldn't trust the Democrats anymore, it was all done on purpose. They're setting us up. And then they're going to blame us when everything burns to ash. Albert Pike, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Dodge, debt clock. I had a person commenting on that video where I talk about it. The debt clock, hello? Is about the debts that are in real time increasing. And so if our Congress would actually pay off the debt, like they decide to put 10 trillion to pay off the debt instead of 36 trillion 421 billion 614 million 728,619 at the time I took the snapshot yesterday, it would be 26. Because I paid off some of the debt. But then it would still be going up at 26. But they're not doing that. They're purposely letting the debt go to infinity and beyond. And so the Dodge clock is not about how much they're saving, because it's not being deducted from the U.S. national debt. It's a debt that has been added. It is not saving us money. And yet, I had a person comment on that video where I talked about it and said, no, Dodge is saving America money. It's showing how much we've saved. Yes, we've saved $42,153,576,861 at the time I took this snapshot. So why wasn't it deducted from the national debt? Oh my God, people. Oh my God. It's just unbelievable. Why, people? Why? Why don't you get it? So, but this is even worse because Musk is in charge of Dodge. Because Ramaswamy got the hell out of Dodge. And as you see in the upper right hand corner, there's a secret window. Open or close it. It will take you to X of Musk. It's a gambling thing. On the US debt clock, gambling from Musk. And now Musk is bragging about how much money he's making just by being in Dodge. And Ramaswamy quit? Wow, that was stupid. That's Musk's payment being in charge of Dodge. And so don't get all caught up in this. Oh, he's offended because he was kept out of the Stargate program. They're bashing each other. That's a WWE performance. That's to distract you away from the debt clock. Where are we now? KUTV2 is now national news. They're no longer local. Check for yourself. They're covering all national news now of Trump. When Trump took over, they decided, we're changing our platform. We're not going to talk about Utah. Screw Utah. KUTV2 hates Utah. Oh my God. So yeah, I don't get it, but that's what they're doing. Because previously, they never would talk about national stuff. It was always local. All of the locals only talk local. But now under Trump, everybody's doing Trump stuff. Makes no sense. I don't understand. And so, because Utah is a sanctuary state. Now I understand. I should have understood from the beginning. They're lying to Trump to give off the appearance that they support him when they don't. Just like our government leaders. Because the church is a sanctuary state. They know this. They know Trump's agenda. They don't know that Oaks is responsible for writing Project 2025. The church purposely is setting themselves as the enemy, which they are the enemy. But when and if Trump ever does come in and attack in Utah to do the raids and stuff, to punish the church for harboring terrorists, criminals, illegals, then the church will be able to be in a position to claim victimhood. Islam did it in Israel. worked well for them. And see how they're setting up Trump to be the defender of Israel? And so Islam will claim to be victims? Same pattern, guys. Catch on. Do not let them fool you. Here's a sad thing. Family proclamation is known by its fruits. So Utah's domestic violence cases are skyrocketing. What's forever for, Mormons, if you can't love your spouse that you've prostituted? Don't beat your whore. The church made you believe you got to choose her. Tithing, you are forced to pay. It's a law. It's not a donation. And so you have to pay in order to go to the temple. Section 119, duh. And so you can't get married. Church demands you get married in the temple. And so the church demands you pay to be worthy, number 10 on the interview questions, to go to the temple. So you can't have sex until you pay to go to the temple and get married. Prostitution 101. And if you found your mate from another country at BYU, sex trafficking. This is how they're conning you. So don't beat your whore. She's plain, pure, and precious. Don't beat her. You might want to have sex with her again. A new acting FAA administrator has been put into place after Trump then said that DEI was responsible. You don't see what's going on? Oh my God. Who was the previous FAA administrator? Is she a female? If she's a female, I'm going to be busting up laughing here in a minute. Let's see. DEI cost me a job in aviation. Former FAA administrator. Public should have confidence in air traffic control. Christopher. They've already updated it. So they've got the acting administrator and the acting deputy administrator. So let's see if Wikipedia will give us the answer. History of FAA administrators. So it looks like it was Michael Whitaker. Okay. So is he a Democrat? Is that why he was kicked out? He was put in under Biden, so he's only been there for 2 years. So that explains why. He was a Biden appointee, and so he's using that to justify it. Okay. So you got to know these things. You know Trump. He says everything he means. Why don't you believe him? And I did say Pride Month also, with Black History and MLK Day gone. Pride Month is gone. So that's going to be an interesting thing with St. George and their legal battles back and forth to keep Pride Parade out. So pay attention to that. But also it's to prevent drag queens giving story hour to kids. They're also going and attacking that. Tariffs. Okay. Yeah, the BBC gets it. They know Trump. They're not stupid. They're not treating their audience as stupid. It is our press who are treating us as stupid. Both Fox and MAGA News, as well as Deep State Dem Press. Both of them are taking you in tangents away from what Trump is actually going to lead us to a conclusion for, a final solution for. And so, yeah, the BBC are talking about how Trump is flooding the media, which comes from his art of the war. They know his tactics. They know what he's doing. They're not fooled. Okay, so yeah, we're waiting for Shelby's ruling as the James Huntsman appeal was denied. That will give Shelby reason to go against the prosecution on that, to support the church's criminal operation. Alrighty, so is that it? I think that's it.